ace for a Kobo.
I am a block of cheese, the target.
Very erect nipple. Welcome to Big Fork Theatre. Come have a look at the space. So here we are, we're getting ready for show night. On through to the backstage area, all access pass. Fully accessible stage, that was really important to us when we set up the space. This is where people are backstage waiting to go out on the show. Maybe they're a little bit nervous, a little bit excited, but when they're called by the MC, oh boy! And this is the stage at Big Fork Theatre. This is where the comedians of Brisbane and the improvisers all come to perform. Tonight we've got a show full of improvisers who've been improvising for years and people who are just stepping on stage for the first time. It's called Thursday Night Improv and it's going to be a hoot.
Improvised comedy is comedy that's made up on the spot. Our contemporary style is known by its shorthand, improv, and it came out of the 1950s in Chicago, America. Two theatre companies, the Compass Players and Second City Comedy Theatre, originated the form, and they drew inspiration from the original Italian commedia dell'arte, cabaret theatre, and funnily enough, children's games. More recently, Big Fork Theatre has been taking the improv scene in Brisbane by storm, selling out entire runs at the Brisbane and Anywhere festivals and packing in audience at their weekly shows in the Fortitude Valley, where they run their own black box theatre. This is Big Fork's home base for their workshops, training and classes. G'day mate.
Hey, Patrick.
Mark,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, fantastic. Mark, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, please?
Sure. When I first joined Big Fork, they were doing a lot of fantastic work in the community, providing good quality training, a safe space for people to come and learn how to improvise, which I really aligned my values aligned really closely with that. Now becomes something which is far more committed as a group of people.
Where have, you personally and Big Fork at large drawn your influences from?
Yeah, so clearly improv has a very strong history out of the US, and there's a lot of improv in the US, and also a lot of actors now that are working in Hollywood come from an improv background. But history is only a starting point. Where we go with it is what's important.
Where does the name Big Fork come from?
The first is the maybe more factual one of before we became Big Fork Theatre, some of us would perform together, and on the backstage of where we performed there was a large fork, and we incorporated that into some of our warm-ups. Number two is a much more playful interpretation of it, which one of our directors is very firmly of the belief that this is what it means. And it is the feeling that a child has when it gets upgraded from the baby fork to a proper adult fork, and the wonderful sense of accomplishment and happiness that they feel.
So can you tell us a little bit about what improv has brought to you and your life?
Yeah, so I guess for me, improv is a huge creative outlet for me. Get my ideas out there on stage and express them. I've tried, other forms of creative outlets. I've tried stand-up comedy, scripted comedy and things like that, but for me, improv especially has been a huge way for me to get on stage and express myself. So when I'm on stage playing, I just feel really accomplished and really grateful as well that we've been able to build this and build that community around us. So on a weekly basis, I can get on stage and do what I love, which is just, playing around with people who've become some of my closest friends while also entertaining an audience.
So what are some of the challenges and obstacles that...
Yeah, so I think some of the challenges are a transition from an organisation that does one show a week. You're so familiar with what you do, and it's like any transition in life. You start out, you do something, as soon as you change, it becomes a lot different for you, and you have to then work through the challenges of, well, how does this work in the organisation, and making that work rather than it being any one thing. It's that change and transition process.
Yeah. Could you tell us a little bit about the role that sort of Big Fork plays?
We really wanted to have community be front and centre of everything that we do. Anyone can improvise. It's open to people from all walks of life. You can find so many different types of people in the community. It sort of really breaks down some of those barriers between each other. So I think platform of Big Fork Theatre and creating a space where people can. Such a dynamic, wonderful environment that you can't help but feel like you're home.